FM94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. And this is cool because actually this band, the Wilkof Project, was just the recent winner of the Rock of the Dark New Music Poll. And they clobbered everybody with their latest song. And on the phone right now, calling me from West Palm Beach, Florida, I may add, is Matt Wilkof. And Matt, I say that because here we are up in Minnesota with some cold temperatures, below freezing, had some snow, and you're telling me it's 80 degrees and sunny down there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Low humidity and everything.
So have you been to the beach today? Have you been to the beach today? That's the question.
No, it's too cold for the beach.
Oh boy. Hey, I got you on the phone here because I wanted to know more about the band, obviously, but I want to get to know your history first of all with this project that you have going on. So, can you give us kind of the history of you? Because I know you obviously played in other bands before, and we've talked about this on our airwaves that you fronted other bands and even a band that had a top 20 radio hit back in 2009 with Another Black Day. But give us your history, I guess, of the rock music that you've been involved in.
Well, I mean, I've played in bands for years, and then in Another Black Day, I formed that in 2004, and then we got a record contract in 2006, and did fairly well up all the way until 2009. And then due to personal issues that I had, I kind of walked away from the music industry. It's a rough business, and we did the whole 9 yards, touring, radio, everything. I did everything a rock and roll artist does on the road, and then some. Anything you think ever happens, it does. And due to that lifestyle, I chose. It just wasn't healthy for me. So I don't want to get too personal, but I struggled a little bit, and so I walked away from it, kind of got my crap together, and then, several years later, I'm going to say around 2000, maybe 14, I started putting together a band again, and went through various members, I had like 3 different drummers, 2 different bass players, started writing some music based upon my personal history. Anybody listen to lyrics, they can probably figure out what it's about. I don't mind saying I had a drug addiction, and that's why I quit the band, the first band, Another Black Day. And then I got my crap together, got sober back in 2011, and formed this band in 2013. And then about a year and a half ago, I decided to really push it. Let's see what would happen. And so far, the response has been really good. I got about 2 years ago, I got TJ Bumgardner, our drummer, who is a young cat, and he's really, he's been an integral part of the band. And then just recently, we pulled in a guy named Tom DeFile, who used to play in a band called Saigon Kick back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if people have heard of them before or not, but it was back in the 90s. They're a very successful band.
Very successful.
Yes, and this lineup is really has been a blessing, and probably the permanent one at this point. So I was trying to find different musicians and everything. But so far, the response has been great. Everything's been just self-financed. We don't have a record label or anything like that. It's been me just pushing it, and we have some help from fans and stuff like that. But it's just in the last year, it's really gained some traction. And I'm kind of I kind of feel like it's I keep my expectations real. It's just, but it's kind of like almost a second chance for me. I had this minimal success in my last band. I did it the wrong way, and now I'm doing it the right way. Does it make sense? I'm trying to I think it transposes to people when they hear it, because I think the music is genuine because it's real. I'm not trying to hide anything, and also I believe that we're just doing kind of straightforward rock, which is kind of missing these days. Music to me has gotten a little convoluted. So
absolutely,
I'm very positive about the band right now. We've got some interest with some labels, possibly. I don't want to speak too far in the future, but in February, heading out to LA to showcase for a couple labels. and we'll see what happens. You know, just taking everything in stride. But we really appreciate you, giving us a chance and playing our material. It's very grateful for it.
Well, I love the music, by the way, so that's why I'm playing it. But first of all, before we can continue on, I want to say, congratulations to you for getting your life back on track, because, it's very difficult, especially in the rock world and like you said, taking that break. Now you know what to expect, and so when you get back into it, you won't have those temptations that happen anymore, and hopefully you can continue on, because we've seen a lot of great rockers out there get caught up in things, and then the next thing you know is they're no longer with us, aren't they, Matt?
No, it's true, and I could have been one of those people, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I walked away from it. Was it just, we toured. Look back in hindsight, it's 2020, right? Like, there's some of the mistakes that you made. I mean, our last tour, Another Black Day, was with Five Finger Death Punch right before they got gigantic.
Wow.
Due to my behaviors and my attitude, I kind of ruined it. And I really believe that it's funny because people always ask me, like, I literally walked away from it. We were becoming successful. I could have continued to do it, but I just think it would have imploded anyway. And it happens to so many people, and they die from it. I mean, drug addiction is rampant in our country, and it's definitely a deadly, I want to call it a disease, affliction, whatever you want to call it, but it's definitely something that's extremely serious, and I appreciate that. Thank you for congratulating me, but it's just in my life's just so much happier. Like I said, you're right, and I now know what pitfalls not to fall in. Have a lot of accountability. Everybody, one of the prerequisites of my band is you can't party. I know that doesn't seem really cool, like in a rock band.
Right.
Actually, the way I behaved, partying down like I was Pantera, was not cool.
Yeah.
To me, it was. It's a business. The older I got, the more I realized instead of it just being Party Time USA, it's a business. And it's fun. It's art. At the same time, you know what I mean? It's a career, and you don't go to your work and get loaded without getting fired. So it's the same thing. So.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely, my life is just so much better now, and that's why I feel like it comes out in the music, and my singing's way better than it used to be, and it's just kind of funny how things work out that way, where I used to think, when you're loaded, you think you're, some kind of god,
right?
And then now I have a lot more humility in it, where it's just, like I said, take things with stride.
Obviously you had some success in 2009, and now you move forward to 2018, which is 9 years from, back then. How huge or how much difference have you noticed the industry has changed in those 9 years?
Well, it's so funny. I love that question. People have asked me that before. Another Black Day caught the tail end of the destruction of the music industry. Radio was active rock was the big deal. So people did. Songs were on the radio, and you figured it out, and then you went and bought albums. Or you know what I mean? It's like downloads were still relatively new back then. iTunes was just coming out. Facebook was brand new. YouTube was like a blip. It was nothing. And I think it was easier to get the financial backing of a record company, okay? But at the same time, as a new band, you had to be at the right place in the right time. Does that make, you know what I mean? Like you had to know somebody to be in the right place at the right time. Nowadays, it's a curse and a blessing with the technology. I can send a song and it can reach somebody in Japan, However, so can everybody else. And you can also, like I said, everything that I've done with minimal cost. I'm talking from everybody has a studio now. Record companies want to see if you can get a viral video on your own before they'll even touch you. And if they do, I've gotten, labels that have contacted me and they like the music, right? But they want you to pay them for marketing. Nobody wants to sink any money. And radio, thanks to Spotify, Pandora, and all that stuff, it's just really tough for you guys, you know? I mean, I always support, I listen to radio and everything, but, so it's just changed so much. And now, bands go out on tours, and I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Anybody listening that wants to be in a band, I think it's just going to be like, $1 million advances and rushing out on tour. People are buying their way on tours. Like, if you want to go tour with a band and you got a couple grand for each show, you can get on any tour you want, and it's really, you can almost buy your way into it. I'll give you an example. Post Malone, that is,
yep.
I know you've heard of him.
Yep.
Before.
Better Now is his latest song, yep.
Right. Bought it, I mean, I'm not going to say anything about another artist, great, whatever. People like it, they like it. Bought his way into the industry. It's a known fact.
Right.
I mean, it's like same with like a Greta Van Fleet, right?
Yeah.
Killer, great band, awesome. A little bit like Zeppelin, whatever. That's their deal.
Yeah.
However, an A&R guy didn't walk to a club in Michigan or wherever the hell they're from and be like, "That band's killer. I'm signing them." That's not what happened.
Right.
Somebody spent some money, and it's just the way it works now. I don't mind it because, like I said, the internet has kind of ruined the industry the way it's just a new dynamic, and you have to navigate the right way. I spend a lot of time online, and it's very time consuming, but it works if it's organic. I do it very organically and probably aggressive marketing, but it seems to work if people like your music, so it's changed a lot, dude. Like, I mean, I've had record companies that knew who I was in my last band, and we're like, "Look, Matt, the industry's changed. Do you want to get on our label? You're going to have to pay us $8,000.
Yeah, which I think is still crazy.
Huh?
I still think it's crazy that you're paying for this to get on the airwaves. And I mean, I know the industry how it works, but I think it's just ridiculous.
Well, yeah. What is it? What is it? All Access or whatever it's called? Like I've had program directors that knew me from Another Black Day. So I've sent them my stuff. Like, dude, just put me on like a crappy like D rotation or whatever. I don't care. Like,
right.
3 o'clock in the morning, right? Like I know how it works too. I'm not expecting you to put me on an A rotation. I mean, and they're like, dude, we can't. We're not allowed. Like, even like it used to be in the day, you contact the program director, schmoozle, he can put whatever he wanted on.
Right.
It's just it doesn't work that way anymore.
Well, that's because, and unfortunately, and that's the business now, at least on the radio side, we're one of those few stations, we're still independently owned. We're not corporately owned, so we don't have to have some guy in New York tell us what our playlist is. So and there are some stations like us out there, which is how, and that's my next question. How are bands like you or even up-and-coming bands ever going to get discovered anymore? And if you probably just heard Jonathan Davis from Korn actually just said something this past weekend when he was filling in for Jamie Jasta from Hatebreed. He was on their podcast, and he was talking about, you're never going to see a band like Korn or a new metal band like Limp Bizkit or even like the Deftones anymore, just because the industry's not going to allow it anymore. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like, will it ever happen again? I think music is what gives me hope. Again, I'm like a straight rock band, like
right.
Kind of slightly metalish. That what gives me hope is bands like Greta Van Fleet. I hate to say it, like I said, I'm not a fan. I don't lie, but at least there's like what I'm trying to not bank on, but happen is there's people that are in the demographic of the ages of 35 and 60. Okay.
Yep.
That don't want to hear rap and don't want to hear EDM and don't want to hear, they don't want to hear ridiculous metal because that's all that. To me, it's like it's rap, hip hop, extremely crazy metal that's always going to be around, or like some electronic stuff that's like, unless you're like 22 and taking ecstasy, you're not relating to.
Right.
So I think there's this need or want for like a demographic of 35 to 60, the people that, if a record company's smart, those are the people that have jobs and careers and money if they want to make money, and a band that they can get behind. You know what I mean? Like their band, they'll have to listen to bands from another generation. I don't know. It's like the industry won't allow it, and it's this grassroots thing. And you know what? So now a band like us is fringe, right? We're like on the fringe.
Right.
You know what? Good. Welcome to the fringe, because that's how it always started. I mean, punk started that way, metal started that way, rock started, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe it'll just cycle back around again. Because I mean, to me, music is completely. It's just lifeless. I mean, I don't know if you. I mean, you listen to a lot of music and hear a lot of new stuff. And
all the time, yeah.
What you want, but it's lifeless, man. It's like
it's cookie cutter.
To be honest with you, like, it is. And everything sounds the same.
Yeah.
And I'm not touting my own band. By no means am I breaking any new ground. Okay, I don't believe that. I'm like, oh man, Wilkof Project is the most, we're incredible. It's, however, I didn't use auto tune. I can sing, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't. The guy actually in the studio, the guy who recorded it, was like, you don't need it. He's like, you actually can sing. We don't write about nonsensical stuff, and it doesn't sound like every other band. It may sound familiar, like this, every band sounds somewhere, their influence. But all these even rock bands, I don't want to name names, but it all sound the same. It's like all... I can't even tell them apart. Maybe that's just because I'm old. I don't know. I can't even tell them
well, you know
apart.
what? I'm old too, because I tell you what, back, and I've told this story to all our listeners, but I mean, when I started in radio, it was just when Nirvana and all those guys were just starting to break out 25, 27 years ago. And,
Right.
It's just the industry has changed so much, and I'm trying to figure out how, and like you were saying, who is it going to take to get the, I guess, the current rock back on the map in some way, shape, or form? I don't know. Is it going to be you, the artist, or is it going to be somebody like myself or a radio guy that says enough's enough? Let's play the stuff that's good.
I think it's a combination. I think people have to write that kind of music, number one, which they seem to be. I mean, I always try to search out obscure, weird, unknown bands, and there's people that are doing it. Like I said, it's on the fringe, on the outside, but I think it takes guys like you. Like I said, that's why I'm grateful and appreciated it. Like, I've sent my stuff, I sat there and just sent it to a bunch of radio stations, and it's the smaller ones like you guys, like aren't bound by these ridiculous corporate, what they think, but they're telling people to listen to and what's good, and have been responsive to it. So, you know what? Yeah, it's like almost like this weird. My drummer's always like, dude, we need to start a rock revolution. I'm like, yeah, okay, dude, slow down. It's not going to happen. But it's true. It almost needs, I think it's coming, dude. I really do. I think it just takes one or two bands. That's why I said, I keep bringing up Greta Van Fleet. Like, I think it's opening the door. I wish they weren't such a rip-off of Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But it's like, because there can be a band that comes out, it's a straightforward rock band without all the ridiculous bells and whistles and all this electronic studio computer crap that, maybe it'll turn around one day. I don't know, but I think it takes guys like you, a band, and then somebody really rich.
Yeah, that's what I want. Well, but the problem is you and I know that we can't get rich in this business, though.
No, that's why my drummer's like, I want to go on the road and make like $40,000 a year minimum. I'm like, dude, you'd be lucky to make $40,000 like 10 years. What are you talking about? You're making like $1,200 like a year. It's not. That's what I'm saying. I need to find some like rich, like a 1%er, like some crazy,
right?
Like, Jeff Bezos to get behind and be like, you know what? I'm going to make rock famous again.
Right?
It's like that's what it really takes.
Absolutely. We're talking with Matt. We're talking with Matt Wilkof of the band, the Wilkof Project. His latest song that we got spun here on the Dark, which, as I mentioned, was a winner of the Rock of the Dark. The music play was a landslide. It was called Pocket Full of Pride. Give us the history of this song, and how did you come up with this one?
Well, again, I mean, our music is usually how it's written. It's like usually I'm just like noodling around the guitar and all that. And really, just a lot of times when we write, I want to give you this epic story of like, I was sitting there and like all of a sudden an angel of light came to me and I wrote this epic song. It's like we really, as a band, I come up with the riff, we start playing, and we kind of just put it together and I have an idea. Lyrically, I put more thought into it. So, when you're playing as a band, and maybe it's not as a musician, you know it. You know when you're playing with your guys that like it feels good, you know, and you're structuring it, putting it all together. And I'm pretty sure that one, most of it I kind of wrote by myself at home and then put it together as a band. Everybody else has their input, and then they just kind of piece it together. But lyrically, I was kind of in a bad spot in my relationship. It's kind of about that of I always will write about real life experiences, and it came to pass about. I mean, I was kind of arguing with my wife. It was like, you know, and kind of looking at my past. I'm like, I don't really know. You know, I lost my father at a young age, so I never really was taught like how to have relationships, and you know what I knew as a child. You know what I mean? I didn't see healthy relationships, so it's kind of about that, and then me just having a lot of pride instead of like owning up to that. Me just kind of wanting to walk away and not face my problems, and it's basically what it's about. And that's where it kind of came to pass lyrically. I'm more when it comes to lyrics. I will not just put anything down. It has to be. I'll have a song sometimes with no lyrics for a while until I figure it out. Because I will not. I refuse to just put something out that's just nonsense, you know, or just, well, this sounds cool, let me just do it.
Right.
So that's pretty much how that song came to pass.
Very cool, very cool. I know you when you sent us some of your information, you said one of your influences was Chris Cornell, obviously, and as we were talking about earlier on, you know, the struggles of life and stuff. There's another one, once again, and a great guy that went down too early. I guess what did you think of Chris back in the day, and I guess kind of what was one of the reasons why he was such an influence on you?
Well, I'll never forget when Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains and all that started coming out.
Right.
And, you know, remember back then that it was like all we had was like Skid Row and like really high screeching, you know, or whatever, even like Queensryche and stuff. And I like that. It's not Skid Row, but I like those high singers. I like Dio and Iron Maiden and stuff. And so then, like, you know, I hear Pearl Jam with the and I'm like, I couldn't deal with it, right? So all of a sudden, I hear Outshine on the radio, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. I can tell he likes the same stuff I do, which obviously he did, like Black Sabbath and Maiden, and like you can just tell he was influenced by that kind of stuff, and it was soulful. And just from that point on, and then a lot of people are like that. I mean, I'm not unique in loving Chris Cornell, but I mean, for years and years, I've seen him a million times. Soundgarden. I've never seen his solo stuff, but I've seen Soundgarden a bunch of times, and just his solo album, this first one, it's probably one of my all-time favorites. Temple of the Dog is one of my all-time. I just really connected to that, how soulful and powerful his voice is. You know what I mean? It's that. It's like really cuts through you instead of just, like you saying, like cookie cutter, just laid on top. Sounds like he didn't sound like anybody else. Nobody sang like him. No. You know, and so that was that's pretty much why. Like, it just through the years and losing. I mean, I'm grateful that I've gotten to see him several times, but definitely a huge loss. Huge loss. But that's like one of my biggest. I don't try to sound like him. People always like, oh, you're like Cornell. I'm like, thank you for the compliment, but not even close. Right. It's just influence. You know what I mean? Like, it's annoying. Like, I'll play live. People like, dude, you're like Chris Cornell. I'm like, dude, take it down a level. No, I'm not.
No, I'm Matt Wilkof.
Right. I appreciate it, but, you know, it's not. I'm very influenced by all that era. Even from Stone Temple Pilots, that's another sad story. Right. That's one of my favorite bands as well. That's a horrible story. Yeah. Another one that was lost. You know, Lane Staley, all those guys, all the artists that I grew up with. You know, it's funny, like, you got the Mick Jaggers running around and Robert Plant and Eric Clapton, you know, from, like... I know. And that my generation of music, like, they're all dead. Yeah. Nobody's alive anymore, except for Eddie Vedder's the only one. Yeah. And Kurt Cobain, Lane Staley, Weiland.
Yeah. Yeah, they've all passed away. It's crazy. It is crazy. Hey, you mentioned about doing some live shows and that. Have you guys had a chance to do many live shows and doing some touring yet, or what's the plans for 2019 for the Wilkof Project?
Like I said, Well, we're from Florida. We played out of state a couple times: Chicago, Maryland, Indiana. Mostly, we just played down here, South Florida. Tampa, Orlando, stuff like that. It's hard. Again, finance. We don't have a record label, but what we're looking at is, we're about to go in and record again. We've had this EP for about a year, which has done really well. Get in, record again, and start putting it out there, and just keep pushing along. I said, we're probably going to be flying out to LA in February or March. I'm pushing for February to play in front of a record label. I don't want to say who it is. And let's see what happens. I mean, and it's a real one. It's not like, hey, pay us $8,000. It's like a real label.
Right.
So that's kind of the plans for 2019. We got, we're always playing. I try not to play locally too much. I hate when bands do that. Like they play every 2 weeks. Like no one's gonna come.
Right.
So, but we play out live. Our live shows is we're really. I mean, like I said, not blowing up my own horn, but live. Like we've been playing a long time. We're professional. So,
absolutely.
So it's like some local band. And our live show is good. We've always liked it. We're just kind of like I'm having fun, man. It's like once I start putting on, something worse. I have buddies of mine that man, we just gotta make it. Like in their bands, I'm like, bro, if that's what you're doing, and you're not having fun, I always ask them. The first question I was like, are you having fun? And they're like, well, I guess I don't know. Like, well, then you shouldn't do it. So, what's my plans for 2019? I don't know. We're going to keep pushing this band. We're playing our live shows. I'm going to make networking with guys like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what I'm going to continue to do. I mean, I got contact with you by just sending you a Facebook message, man.
Absolutely.
Or an email. I mean, it's literally what I do, and it's fun for me. It's like a video game.
That's great.
I treat it like it's a video game. I never get despondent over it. We've accumulated almost 10,000 followers on our Facebook page in a year, which is actually, anybody in the industry has been like, whatever you're doing, dude, just keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's hard to do. And so I'm having a good time with it, man. There's no expectations. And really, I do this because I love playing music. I love recording. And if people like it, that makes me happy, too, because it made them happy.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens, man. Good stuff's coming. The band has momentum, so I'm not gonna lie. Just like I told you earlier, I just keep everything in perspective and don't get it's the music industry, dude. One minute things could be great, and you take 10 steps back, and all of a sudden, something happens to where you're back at square one again. So keep it in perspective, brother.
Hey, if people want more information about the Wilkof Project, how can they find out that information?
Well, they can go to our Facebook and look us up on Facebook at the Wilkof Project. It's Wilkof, as in Frank, Wilkof, which we will be changing our band name eventually.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Project.
Okay.
Well, that's a whole other story. I'll tell you another time. But we'll see what happens with that. So the Wilkof Project on Facebook, YouTube, we have all that stuff we have a website, thewilkofproject.com. You can sign up for our mailing list, buy our EP, T-shirts, all that good stuff. All that stuff's on there. All the basic stuff. Wilkofproject.com and the Wilkof Project on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.
Matt, thanks so much for joining me, and we're going to play your latest song here called Pocket Full of Pride. A lot of fun. We could talk for hours, and we'll have to do it again sometime, maybe in early 2019, so you can give us the update of what's happening with you guys. Sound great?
Awesome. That's awesome. It's a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Once again, that is Matt Wilkof. He's with the Wilkof Project. Their latest song is called Pocket Full of Pride. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM94.